look the other way. Megan Scully, defense and national security reporter with National Journal. The piece is called The Pentagon Premium. That's all for Washington Journal this morning. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Let's go to the floor of the House of Representatives right now. They're getting underway.
5 minutes each. But in no event shall debate continue beyond 11:50 a.m. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Oregon, Mr. Blumenauer, for 5 minutes.
We begin another week in political wonderland. The Dow falls 100 points at the opening bell. What is it that we should do? Well, if we had the knowledge and problem-solving skills of average college sophomore economic students or women in a church study group, before the week is out, we would establish some simple steps. First, we would understand that in a divided government with real economic challenges, no one group is allowed, especially those representing a minority opinion, to have their way entirely. We would begin by repealing the silly debt ceiling limitation, a law that was enacted in 1917 when the United States was about to embark upon a borrowing binge in World War I. It was used to look like we were more fiscally responsible, and it is a charade that we have done dozens of times since. The fact is, these are debts we've already incurred, and the United States will obligate them. What sort of charade are we going to go through until we finally own up? Second, we would actually deal with the twin challenges of unsustainable spending and tax cuts and the need to restore the economy and compete in a global world business climate. In an ideal world, my Republican friends would use their opportunity over the next 10 weeks to actually show how they would control spending in a way that is agreeable within the political process. In fact, they would have two opportunities between now and the election to actually shut down the government if they didn't get their way, to highlight that effort. Next, we would deal with a real consensus on things like military spending. There's broad agreement across party lines. For example, why shouldn't we, after more than a half-century at the end of World War II, 20 years after the collapse of the Soviet Union, bring those troops home from Europe? Of course we can do that, and it's the start of many things that would help us restore military spending. Next, we can deal meaningfully with our health care costs. Many parts of the United States spend far less money for Medicare than the high spending areas. We know how to do this. And in fact, those low spending, high value areas provide better quality health care. Let's use the power of the Health Care Reform Act to accelerate those reforms and spread them, saving money and improving the quality of care. Turn to the tax code. The American public would support a combined, modest, reasonable tax reform that would actually raise some revenue by closing unjustified tax loopholes and be able to deal with more fairness, simplicity. More people would actually pay their taxes. We would have more revenue, and there would be more confidence in the system. We would deal with our infrastructure deficit, something that doesn't get as much attention around here as it should, but we have a serious deficiency in terms of basic infrastructure, transportation, sewer, water, trillions of dollars of a deficit that is building, undermining our competitiveness in a global economy. We would have modest user fees to support needed improvement, intelligent use of credit that would put hundreds of thousands of people to work, strengthening not just the economy, but improving our health and our global our competitiveness. We would reform agricultural spending. Those college students could figure out what the experts have told us, that we can actually provide more support for America's farmers and ranchers, improve the environment, put more resources in nutrition for our children in schools, all the time strengthening American agriculture, saving money. This isn't rocket science. Finally, we would launch a very public American process on how to strengthen Social Security. protect that lifeline for our seniors in a way that brings people together rather than divides them. Any Rotary Club with 10 people and an internet connection and a sheet of butcher paper can come up with 1 or 2 or 3 alternatives that would solve the problem over the next 50 years and would be acceptable to the American public. This doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't need to risk knocking the economy into another tailspin. Done right, we can meet our real challenges in a way that puts us on a sustainable economic path. It rebuilds and renews America and unites our country to meet our challenges ahead. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. Seeing no other speakers, pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the Chair declares the House in recess until noon today.